Vielen Dank, Herr van Roosevelt. Auch von meiner Seite im Namen der Industrie- und Handelskammer in Offenbach heiße ich Sie herzlich willkommen bei unserem, einem weiteren Webinar aus unserer Innovationswebinarreihe. Ich bin in der IHK für das Thema Innovation verantwortlich, gemeinsam mit meinem Team. Wir helfen Ihnen als Unternehmen bei Kooperation rund um das Thema Innovation, Geschäftsentwicklung. Das heißt, da geht es um Kontakte zu Partnern, um Methoden, um Förderprogramme, Beratung zu Patenten. Das sind die Themen, wie wir Sie unterstützen. Die Webinarreihe, die wir jetzt seit einigen Wochen schon vorantreiben, einige von Ihnen sind auch schon mehrfach dabei gewesen. Da schauen wir rein in unterschiedliche Innovationsthemen, möchten Ihnen Wissen vermitteln, aber Sie auch einfach motivieren, verschiedene Themen anzugehen. Diese Webinarreihe wird durch uns als IHK organisiert und sie wird unterstützt durch die Geschäftsstelle Kreativwirtschaft bei der Hessen-Agentur. Im Anschluss an die Vorträge erfahren Sie auch, wie es weitergeht in der Webinarreihe und wie Herr van Roosevelt schon gesagt hat, ich möchte es gerne nochmal wiederholen. Sie können am Ende gerne natürlich zum einen sagen, wie hat Ihnen das Webinar gefallen, zum anderen uns aber auch mitteilen, welche Themen Sie noch interessieren würden. Das greifen wir dann auf. Jetzt zum Thema Geschäftsmodelle in Corona-Zeiten. Dass das Thema besonders relevant ist momentan, das liegt auf der Hand. Viele Geschäftsmodelle stehen unter einem Veränderungsdruck, besonders natürlich, wenn bei der Erbringung der wirtschaftlichen Leistung der Kontakt von Menschen notwendig ist. Digitalisierung ist da das Stichwort. Und dieses Thema wollen wir heute aber nicht theoretisch beleuchten, sondern ganz praktisch. Dafür freue ich mich, dass ich zwei Gäste mit an Bord habe, die uns jetzt gerade aus Helsinki zugeschaltet sind. Das ist einmal Laura Olin, sie ist COO bei der Digitalagentur Zoan aus Helsinki, wird dann uns ein ganz konkretes Beispiel für neue Geschäftsmodelle in Corona-Zeiten geben. Und ich freue mich, und Sie sehen ihn auch schon im Bild, dass Jan Feller, Geschäftsführer der Deutsch-Finnischen Handelskammer in Helsinki, uns jetzt auch zugeschaltet ist. Und gemeinsam, wie gesagt, schauen wir heute mal nach Finnland. Warum Finnland? Da hat Jan Feller sicherlich viele Antworten parat. Natürlich ist es so, Finnland ist ziemlich schnell und ziemlich innovativ. Das zeigen international immer wieder die Rankings. Es ist ein Land, wo gerade auch beim Thema Digitalisierung viele Lösungen, führende Lösungen schon auf dem Markt sind. Und deswegen lohnt es sich heute jetzt sozusagen, wenn wir uns auf den Weg machen in den Norden. Also wir steigen ein mit dem Thema, mit einem Überblick Geschäftsmodelle in Corona-Zeiten und schauen dann in einer ganz besonderen, und da können Sie wirklich drauf gespannt sein, ich finde das sehr beeindruckend, das Thema Corona-Challenge in Virtual Reality. Laura Olin spricht auch Deutsch, aber sie wird ihren Vortrag auf Englisch halten, nur dass Sie gewarnt sind. Ihre Fragen können Sie gerne auch während der Vorträge laufend im Chat notieren. Ich schaue da rein und im Nachhinein, nach den Vorträgen, können wir dann gemeinsam auch diskutieren. Und damit gebe ich ab an Jan Feller und wünsche Ihnen viel Spaß beim Zuhören.
Alles klar, vielen Dank, Herr Irmscher. Kurze Vorstellung meinerseits. Mein Name ist Jan Feller, kommissarischer Geschäftsführer der AHK Finnland, der Deutsch-Finnischen Handelskammer. Ich habe in meinem Leben das Privileg gehabt, in beiden Ländern, Deutschland und Finnland, zur Schule zu gehen, zu studieren, eigene Unternehmen zu gründen und angestellt zu sein. Unter anderem in Finnland 10 Jahre, in Finnland und Deutschland 10 Jahre bei Nokia in der Kommunikation, Marketing, Vertrieb. Habe aus Deutschland das Smartphone-Geschäft von Nokia mit Vodafone global geleitet und bin jetzt seit 5 Jahren sozusagen beim Außenposten der deutschen Wirtschaft in Helsinki. Was wir als AHK machen, da habe ich nur eine kurze Vorstellung. Bevor wir dahin gehen, kurze Erklärung zum Hintergrundbild. Das hat nichts mit Corona zu tun. Ist mein Mikrofon wieder erschienen, alles klar. So, jetzt müsste es weitergehen. Ich hoffe, der Ton ist da. vielleicht kann jemand, ja, das Bild im Hintergrund hat jetzt noch nichts mit Corona zu tun, zeigt aber so ein bisschen diese finnische Craziness, die das Land zu einem der innovativsten Länder der Welt macht und zum digitalsten Land Europas. Was Sie im Hintergrund sehen, ist die einzige Startup-Pitching-Veranstaltung, bei der es kein Zeitlimit gibt. Der einzige Nachteil ist, man muss aus einem Loch im Eis pitchen, dass da sozusagen der Zeitlimit inhärent dabei ist. Was macht die AHK und was ist die AHK? Wir haben 30 Leute für Sie vor Ort hier in Finnland. Wir sind ein Mitgliedsunternehmen, das auf freiwilliger Mitgliedschaft, eine Mitgliedsorganisation, die auf freiwilliger Mitgliedschaft basiert. 650 Unternehmen aus dem deutsch-finnischen Business sind bei uns Mitglied, zahlen zwischen 100 und 800 Euro im Jahr. Wir betreuen auch Kunden, Dienstleistungen, deutsche Kunden, die in Finnland Geschäft machen wollen oder finnische Kunden, die in Deutschland Geschäft machen wollen. Wir machen Innovationsscouting, Startup-Scouting für deutsche Unternehmen, die sich für finnische Innovationen interessieren, haben verschiedenste Innovationen und Digitalisierungsprogramme, wo wir finnisches Digital können zum Beispiel dem deutschen Mittelstand zugänglich machen. Da läuft gerade ein Smart Building Programm, Industrie 4.0 Programm hatten wir schon. Und im Oktober beginnt in Stuttgart unser Future Automotive Programm. Ja, die kommenden Slides sind hier noch kurz genau das AHK-Netzwerk, wer es nicht kennt. Unsere Kollegen sind für Sie vor Ort in 92 Ländern, 140 Standorten. Viele von den AHKs machen auch Innovationsscouting und ähnliche Dienstleistungen. Falls Sie irgendwie aus diesen Ländern mal was hören wollen, dann zögern Sie nicht, da Kontakt aufzunehmen. Die folgenden Beispiele sind eigentlich eine lose Sammlung von verschiedenen Reaktionen, wie sich finnische Unternehmen auf die veränderte Situation seit März diesen Jahres eingestellt haben. Es gibt digitale und es gibt analoge, es gibt sehr klassische Branchen und es gibt etwas schon per se digitalere Branchen. Ohne Rangreihenfolge möchte ich die Ihnen einfach nur kurz vorstellen, vielleicht als Inspiration, als Beispiel, was man so alles machen kann, so im Sinne It has been done. Das erste Beispiel ist ein analoges ist eigentlich eine Mischung aus analog und digital. Es geht um die Plattform.pro. Das ist eine Plattform, in der sich finnische Restaurants mit Michelin-Sternen zusammengeschlossen haben. Nur ein paar, die vor der Situation standen, dass auch in Finnland im Lockdown, der weniger streng war als in Deutschland, die Restaurants aber zu machen mussten. Und die haben angefangen, auf dieser Plattform halbgekochte Sternemenüs anzubieten. Man hat die sich dann abgeholt in dem Restaurant zu einem bestimmten Zeitfenster, hatte die Anleitung und ich habe das auch selber probiert. Sie sehen hier oben rechts im Bild ein 5-Gang-Menü für 2 Personen. Ich habe es auch geschafft, den Michelin-Stern erfolgreich wegzukochen. Es war trotzdem gut. Und das Interessante war, ich habe mich mit dem Restaurant unterhalten. Das Restaurant selber hat insgesamt 20 Plätze, ungefähr 20 Plätze. Und als ich mein Menü abgeholt habe, waren da 15 Leute in der Schlange, die jeweils ein 2- oder 4-Personen-Menü abgeholt haben. Bedeutet, dass der Umsatz für dieses Restaurant, Getränke, wenn man die wegrechnet, sogar höher war. Das Restaurant konnte seinen größeren Kundenstamm bedienen, als sie es mit ihrer physischen Präsenz hätten machen können. Nächstes Beispiel, wir bleiben jetzt im Food-Bereich, ist die Firma Fazer. Die Firma Fazer ist ein Süßwaren- und Bäckereikonzern, der übrigens Ende des 19. Jahrhunderts von einem deutschsprachigen Einwanderer hier in Finnland gegründet wurde. Fazer hatte das Problem, dass auch die Nachfrage nach Backwaren gesunken ist. Vor allen Dingen hat Fazer eine gute Präsenz in Supermärkten mit Backpunkten, wo frisch im Supermarkt gebackene Produkte von Fazer dann verkauft werden. Fazer hat sehr schnell eine Drive-In-Store in ihrem eigenen Werk eröffnet. wo man sich im Internet vorbestellen konnte, rein dann zum hinfahren könnte. Das hat ungefähr eine Woche gedauert, dann hat das alles funktioniert. Inzwischen ist die Drive-In-Store wieder geschlossen und es gibt jetzt eine reine Online-Store, wo man sich verschiedene Pakete aussuchen kann, bestellen kann, und wenn man die am Vortag bis 16 Uhr bestellt, sind sie am nächsten Tag da. Über Nacht gebacken, also ganz frisch. Eine Branche, die wie in Deutschland auch natürlich sehr gelitten hat, sind die Künstler und die Kulturbranche. Live-Konzerte durften natürlich nicht veranstaltet werden. Veranstaltungen mit Teilnehmern über 10 Personen waren untersagt. Da hat sich der finnische Musikerverband zusammen mit ein paar anderen Organisationen zusammengetan und hat die Plattform Geikala.fi aus der Taufe gehoben. Geikala ist finnisch und heißt auf dem Gig sozusagen, wo wirklich Live-Konzerte stattgefunden haben. Und Sie sehen hier auch den Flow. Das heißt, man hat wirklich ein Ticket gekauft. Die Motivation, das Ticket zu kaufen, war einmal natürlich den Zugang zum Gig zu haben. Auf der anderen Seite haben natürlich viele Fans auch gewusst, dass ihre Artisten, ihre Künstler es im Moment sehr schwer haben und haben dadurch dann extra aktiv beigetragen. Man konnte dann von zu Hause den Live-Event verfolgen und gleichzeitig dann auch noch mit anderen Fans chatten, was natürlich dann vor Ort nicht möglich ist. Hier sehen Sie einfach nur einen Screenshot von ein paar Künstlern, die aufgetreten sind. Das sind wirklich große Namen, die hier dann Konzerte gegeben haben. Der nächste Punkt gefällt mir besonders. Es handelt sich um eine digitale Bar. Restaurants und Bars, Kneipen waren zu. Und digibari.com, was eigentlich digibar.com heißt, ermöglicht einen, sich virtuell in einer Barumgebung zu treffen. Sie sehen hier, wie wir gerade den Abschied eines Teammitglieds feiern. Man kann sich innerhalb dieser Bar aussuchen, wo man gerne sich hinsetzen möchte, hat eine direkte Videoverbindung mit den anderen Personen, was besonders fürs Feeling lustig ist. Man hat im Hintergrund die ganze Zeit den Hintergrund einer größeren Bar laufen, also hört Gespräche oder so ein Murmeln im Hintergrund, ein bisschen Musik. Man kann sich einen Rotwein oder einen Champagner oder einen Sekt virtuell eingießen lassen und dann natürlich eben miteinander unterhalten. Das Businessmodell sehen Sie hier auch ganz in der Mitte, groß natürlich, Sponsoring. Es gibt verschiedene Bars nach verschiedenen Themen, die jeweils von einem anderen Getränkehersteller oder einer anderen Marke dann sozusagen übernommen wurden und gesponsert sind. Man kann sich verschiedenste Themen selber raussuchen. Man kann also auch eine Bar, entweder eine private Bar machen, wo man mit einen bestimmten Link reinkommt, oder man kann einfach eine öffentliche Bar auch besuchen. Es gibt diese Long Drink Bar. Long Drink ist auch eine Getränkemarke hier. Man kann nach Gran Canaria verschiedenartigste Bars, die sich da anbieten. Nächstes Beispiel ist die Firma Guppe. Guppe ist eigentlich ein Gesellschaftsservice für ältere Personen, die zu Hause wohnen oder in Altersheimen, wo Studenten oder auch Leute mit Sozialarbeits- oder Pflegehintergrund sogar älteren Leuten Gesellschaft leisten, denen vorlesen, mit denen Zeit verbringen und so weiter. Guppe hatte das Problem, dass über 70-Jährige nicht besucht werden durften. Damit ist das komplette Geschäftsmodell weggebrochen. Es hat nur ein paar Tage gedauert und Guppe hat sich angepasst und hat gesagt, wir kaufen jetzt für Sie ein, unabhängig davon, welches Geschäft, welche Art von Einkäufen. Sie sagen uns, was Sie wollen. Für 19 € sammeln wir das, holen wir das ab aus dem Geschäft und bringen es an Ihre Haustür. Das nächste Beispiel hat ein bisschen zu tun auch mit meiner Nachrednerin und ist ein Beispiel für ein fantastisches virtuelles Event, das von der öffentlichen Hand veranstaltet wurde. Es geht um das Vappufest, also das Maifest der Stadt Helsinki. Sie müssen sich den Abend vor dem 1. Mai in Finnland vorstellen wie eine Verbindung zwischen Karneval und vielleicht Silvester. Man feiert das Ende des langen, dunklen, kalten Winters, man trifft sich draußen, zentrale Stelle, es gibt eigentlich zwei, ist einmal dieser Domvorplatz, den Sie hier im Bild sehen, und eine bestimmte Statue, in der einfach gefeiert wird, dass der Sommer oder dass der Winter jetzt zu Ende ist, der Sommer beginnt. So sieht das aus. Die weißen Mützen sind übrigens, haben nichts mit Studentenverbindungen zu tun, sondern sind in Finnland einfach Zeichen, dass man sein Abitur gemacht hat. So sieht das an einem normalen Vappu-Tag aus oder Vorabend aus. Und es war natürlich der Stadt Helsinki klar, dass man so eine Veranstaltung nicht durchführen kann, und die Stadt Helsinki sah auch die Notwendigkeit, die Leute aktiv davon abzuhalten, also zu versuchen, ihnen eine interessante Alternative zu bieten, dass so ein Auflauf dann nicht stattfindet. Was gemacht wurde, war ein virtuelles Vappu-Fest. Sie sehen hier den gleichen Vorplatz. Sie sehen hier Avatare von Teilnehmern. Als wir dabei waren, durften wir uns auch aussuchen, wie wir uns vielleicht anziehen möchten. Was Sie auch sehen, interessant, diese Statue hier im Vordergrund ist dieser zweite zentrale Platz, um den sich das Geschehen abspielt. Der ist in Wirklichkeit 300 Meter weiter weg von diesem Vorplatz. Die haben die Statue einfach hierher gesetzt, sodass man wirklich das Gefühl hatte, man verpasst auch nichts. Zu Hochzeiten waren bis zu 200.000 Leute bei diesem Fest dabei. 200.000 ist es für Finnland mit 5 Millionen Einwohnern eine immens große Zahl. Es gab eine Ansprache vom Bürgermeister, es gab verschiedene Einspielungen, und der Hauptakt war eine finnische Band, JVG, die hier aufgetreten ist, die wirklich als Live, man könnte sagen Extended Reality oder Augmented Reality Gig hier aufgetreten sind. Man konnte tolle Effekte auf der Kirche auch machen, für die man sicherlich physisch nie die Erlaubnis bekommen hätte. Zwischendurch ist ein Zeppelin mit Werbung durchs Bild geflogen, und auch auf der vorherigen Folie sah man die Werbung, die das dann ein bisschen mitfinanziert hat. Es war eine tolle Veranstaltung, und 200.000 Leute sprechen eigentlich für sich. Mein letztes Beispiel heute ist wieder aus der analogen Welt. Es geht um eine finnische Gin-Brennerei, die den weltbesten Gin für Gin und Tonic macht. Auf der International Wine and Spirit Conference vor ein paar Jahren wurde der Napoe Gin als bester Gin für Gin und Tonic ausgewählt. Diese Firma sah sich vor dem Problem, dass da die ganzen Bars zu sind, der Umsatz natürlich weggebrochen ist. Hauptmotivation der 5 Gründer war, Kurzarbeit zu vermeiden und die Produktion zumindest irgendwie aufrechtzuerhalten. Innerhalb von ein paar Tagen hat sich Gürer, nach ein paar Wochen, sagen wir 2 Wochen, hat sich Gürer dazu entschlossen, Handdesinfektionsmittel herzustellen. Das haben natürlich andere aus der Branche auch gemacht, das wissen wir, in verschiedenen Ländern. Interessant ist allerdings hier der Approach, dass man nicht nur einfach eine Commodity herstellt, sondern es auch brandet. Dieses Handdesi, das es jetzt inzwischen auch in Deutschland gibt, ist genau on brand für die Kyro Distillery, sieht auch meines Erachtens ganz cool aus. Interessant war auch, es wurde im Prinzip zum Selbstkostenpreis verkauft. Hauptsache war eben die Auslastung der Produktion oder Verhinderung von Kurzarbeit. Zusätzlich gab es das Projekt, dass einzelne Kneipen vorgestellt wurden online und mit dem verkauften Produkt diese Kneipe jeweils unterstützt wurde. Mit dem Hintergedanken, jetzt, wenn wir alle jetzt unsere Hände auch sauber halten, dann können die Kneipen schneller wieder öffnen. Das war ein kurzer Überblick nur aus Finnland, so ein paar Ideen vielleicht zur Inspiration von Bäckerei, Restaurants, Live-Gigs, Online-Kneipen, Einkaufsservice bis hin zu virtuellen Veranstaltungen und Handdesinfektionsmittel. Falls Sie Kommentare, Fragen haben, mehr zu den Sachen wissen wollen, können Sie auch gerne direkt mit uns Kontakt aufnehmen. Meine Kontaktdaten, wenn Sie hier nicht sind, bekommen Sie die sicherlich zusammen mit dem Material.
Ja, vielen Dank, Jan Feller, für diese spannenden, teilweise wirklich ja, verblüffenden Beispiele, wie Firmen ganz schnell reagiert haben auf die besondere Situation in der Pandemie. So thank you very much for that. And now I'm going to switch to English to introduce once more our second guest, who I'm just already chatting with. So Laura, you're there. If you like, put your camera on as well so we can see you. And then, hello, Laura
Hello,
Olin from Zoan.
Guten
Nice to
Morgen.
meet. So I'm gonna hand it on to you, the presentation. So now you should be able to go ahead and tell
Okay.
more about virtual reality and so how much virtual Finland already has become during the last weeks.
Yes, thank you. It's really nice to be here. I must say that I understood maybe 75% of that presentation. So if you have any questions, you can try to ask them in German. It's amazing how one can spend 6-7 years studying German, and now when I have a chance to speak it, I understand, but I cannot speak. So I'm sorry about that. I still hope you can follow my presentation. So let's see what's here. All right. I'm actually going to talk about one thing that Mr. Feller already mentioned, so about that virtual gig, because it was made by our company. My name is Laura Olin, and I am a COO, Chief Operating Officer at Zoan. And that means that I work a lot with virtual, augmented reality, different kind of virtual things. However, I'm not like a technical expert there. I'm more focused in business development and sales and that kind of stuff. And it would be really nice to know, I mean, if there are people in the audience who already work with XR, VR, things like that, just, shout out to the chat. If you like, would be nice to know if you've got experience on that field. About our company, it's called Zoan, and it's existed for 10 years. We have headquarters in Helsinki. We are currently, actually we are a bit more now. We are close to 70 persons since the corona, and we also have operations abroad. We born Brazilian, Finnish, so in that sense we do global projects and all of that. And Zoan was founded by Mika Roosendahl, who is there sitting in the middle, and it's still owned by him and us personnel, so privately owned. And what we are focusing on is real-time 3D. So it means that we work a lot with gaming engines. We create 3D models, interactive experiences based on 3D models that people can use mostly through virtual reality headsets, but also in some other channels. I will show some examples of the work we do. And we have been growing since the past years. Just 3 years ago we were less than 10 people, and during the past years we've grown quite a lot. And because overall the demand for virtual things is increasing, but of course we were also affected by Corona and still are. What we are really good at is making really realistic, top quality 3D models and interactive experience. So that is basically the things that we are doing, and our tool is mostly a gaming engine called Unreal Engine, which is something that is used, for instance, today also in movies like Disney uses for Lion King, Mandalorian. A lot of things that used to be made physically are and will be made virtually in the future in many industries. So this is a big change that I think a lot will affect a lot of industries. And yeah, it's interesting to be a part of this. It's a bit like sort of promoting internet, if you can imagine that, how life was like in the 90s when internet started to become more common. So we have some similar things there. All right. So, but here are some companies from Finland that probably, and from abroad, some of them are probably familiar to you, that we have been working with. And I'm just going to show you a few example projects that we have been working with before Corona. So one thing, this is example what we are doing with Finnair. So basically, training people is definitely a big safety issue for airlines, but the problem is that it's very expensive to keep a plane in the ground. So these kind of training simulators, not only for pilots, but for people who work in the cabin, are really useful. And this is one example. So these are not photos of a real airplane. These are photos from the 3D model that Finnair uses and the Flight Academy uses for cabin crew training. So this is one example of our like normal business. And then you put the VR headset on and you do your training there. And day-to-day business, we do a lot of like build sort of, like to think of architecture, real estate. We build a lot of like models for housing, for selling apartments, things like that, and develop different ways how to, for instance, in this case, people who is using this and checking out how the living room looks like, so they can just sort of tell the device that, okay, I want a red sofa, and then the sofa will turn red. So this is once again something that we do for our B2B clients and for them to use with their clients. And then a third example is, this is actually an exhibition that opened yesterday in Kotka in Finland, Merikeskus Vellamo Maritime Center. So we have recreated virtually an 8-minute piece of the Battle of Svensksund, Ruotsinsalmi taistelu, from 1790s, which is like the a really big naval battle that took place between Sweden and Russia. So if you are traveling in Kotka, near Kotka this summer, so I warmly recommend. That's really spectacular. But yeah, so these are the kind of things that we usually work with within virtual and extended reality. And then when Corona hit, so of course we've all read in papers that, and we all realized just by sitting here, that there is a huge demand for virtual services because people can't go places or do things physically or in real life. But however, when you work with other companies and you are doing business with B2B companies, and when those companies decide that they need to start laying off people or they need to, put the new projects on hold and so on. So of course that affects us. I mean, it would have been really hard to sell new project to an airline during the Corona times. And that's why we also needed to think that, what are we going to do now if, okay, we have a few projects ongoing, but when they finish, we don't have anything else. And we need to really start thinking about other options. So, but that's then what we did. And yeah, so the case was that we know how to produce stunning immersive content to people. Like, we know that we could do amazing things with virtual technology that would probably be useful for people, even though if they're working from home instead of at the office or at the factory or wherever they are. But the challenge was that most of the things that we did was for those, virtual reality headsets that you put on your face. And people don't have virtual reality headsets at homes. They don't have virtual reality headsets at offices, most of them. So, and even if they have, people are not allowed to go to the offices. So what to do? So we started thinking that, is there a new way that we could use this, our skills in making this immersive content? And we identified 3 potential new businesses, which were virtual offices. So basically how you could create a virtual office environment that you could use then from your laptops. Virtual events, which is like a bit like this webinar, but much more, say that the surroundings would be virtual and audience could interact and all that kind of things. And then the third was virtual concerts. So we realized that all the concerts, all the artists, everything, that they are so much affected by this. Everything was cancelled, festivals, everything, that they need some sort of replacement. And as you already saw in the presentation, so these live streams like keikalle.fi are one. So it means that, the band is playing in an empty studio and someone is filming it, and then you broadcast it to TV or internet and people pay to see that. So that's one option. But we wanted to do something like much cooler and much nicer and somehow interactive, because we knew that we have the technology to do that. So that is what we started working on. And personally, I was very much involved in those virtual concerts. And let's see. Yeah. So one thing we decided, that considering that we need to do something fast, so we would need to use things that we already have at place. And one thing that we had was this virtual 3D model of Helsinki that we had made already earlier and that had won prizes, and where we had already worked together with the city of Helsinki for 2 years. So we thought that if there's a virtual concert, so virtual Helsinki would definitely be a great place where to do that. Because we had, for instance, the Senate Square and some other areas already in a very high quality 3D model, and we could like create experiences there. Then another thing this Corona made possible for us is that all those studio spaces, all the best audio engineers, all the best sort of festival technicians, they were suddenly without work. So we hired a very large industrial space in the middle of Helsinki and built this really wide green screen there to enable these virtual concerts. And this was like a bit of a risk because we didn't actually have any concert planned or confirmed when we did that. But on the other hand, the rent was so low, also thanks to Corona, that we could do that. And that's also something we still have there. So that's what we did. And at the same time, we started negotiating with different kind of like record labels, artists. What could we do? Do they have interest for this? And of course, they were also in shock because everything was cancelled, and the artists were, they didn't have work, and there were live streams and everything. So it was like a very hectic 2 weeks to negotiate with everybody. But then when discussing with Helsinki, our customer that we already had, so they came up with this idea that actually this May Day Eve is a huge security risk in Helsinki, just like as mentioned already. So it's a time when you celebrate the end of winter, and everyone is storming out to the streets, and that couldn't happen this year. So that photo on top is from last year, and this was the target this year, the photo there below, that nobody should come to Senate Square. So, but luckily Helsinki is a city that also wants to do fun things, even though it's Corona, and we figured out together with them that if we would arrange this virtual concert, that would be something fun, and it would also help people to stay indoors if you have a concert on that May Day Eve night. So definitely that's something that's interesting for people. So we partnered with Helsinki, and that secured us so that we could, at least, if we wouldn't be making any profit with this, but at least somebody would help us to pay the costs of this gig. And then we needed a band, and we quickly realized that jede, as the most popular band in Finland, and with a cancelled arena tour, so they would be the right one. And we discussed with them, and they were also like, they didn't actually like realize what they were being asked to, but they said yes after a few meetings, and then we started like showing them that this is a virtual reality gig, this is not a live stream, and they got really excited. And yeah, so that's what then we started doing, and that's what happened. So we put these Jare and Ville Galle, the leading duo of the band, in front of a green screen there in our industrial space. We filmed them with normal cameras that were attached to virtual cameras, and then put them into Unreal Engine, where the band members were separated from the background, and the background was replaced with this fantastic virtual scenes that we created together with the band creatives and our people. And then the audience was invited to join the fun by using either like their desktop computers or mobile phones. So there was no need for virtual reality classes, because we needed as many people as possible to watch this. And what was really fun, when they joined the gig, they would get their own avatar, and then when they were there, the avatars were put on Senate Square, and the band would see them while they were performing. So the idea was really that the band can see the audience, and it was really great to see that when they realized that there were over like at some point like over 200,000 people in the audience. So they were like that they got a really nice boost. So it was really amazing. And I thought that I would just show you yeah, so here's our sound guy. Here are the virtual camera guys, and this is like how you can film with the virtual camera inside that virtual space. And if it all sounds like really complicated, so I'm just going to show you a little video. I'll just share my screen for a little while so you can see the, oh wait a minute, no, I'll just take the external video from here. Just a minute. I learned to use this yesterday, and I think I'm doing quite fine maybe. So here you can see a 30-second video of the gig. Yes, so that's how it all looked like, and it was a huge, I mean, it was a huge press for the technical team. There's no way to deny it. We had such a little time. It was all put together in just 4 weeks, but they did a really good job, and a lot of like interesting environment. So it was like a stadium gig, really. Some people, like the critic in Helsingin Sanomat, said that the biggest newspaper said that this was like a generation experience, the Corona, the May Day Eve, and then this wonderful gig that attracted 700,000 people for the live audience, considering the size of Finland, like 5.5 million people, that's quite a lot. And in total, like people who also watch it later on YouTube, so it attracted 1.4 million views. So that was just simply amazing for us as well. And for Helsinki, this was a huge boost in their like international recognition for virtual Helsinki, for Helsinki overall, and they were also really happy. Like it was almost funny, that everyone was like really celebrating. We were really amazed, but we are also really thankful for Helsinki, because I don't think that there are many cities that where you can push through a project of this size in such a short time. Like they have a really good internal structure that when something special is needed, something special is happening, so you can really push through things and you can react to situations and not just, go to some sort of crisis management mode. So that's really good. So when you have sort of innovative players, you can do really good things in a short time. That's definitely for sure. And overall, what happened with our project, so this virtual office, it never became anything. We realized that there are already so many sort of virtual collaboration tools and all that. So we decided not to proceed with that. With virtual events, so our team did we probably got 60 offers out, and of course the negotiations there have taken a bit long, but now we have the first deal of a bigger virtual event confirmed, and we are continuing with the next ones. And what's really great for us, it seems that many conference and event professionals are saying that in the future, even real life conferences and events need to have better virtual sort of virtual conference, so that people who cannot join physically can also join the conference. So we believe that virtual events are also here to stay, regardless of what happens with the corona situation. And with the virtual concert, so that JVG gig enabled us to create a new product. It's called Burst Live. So it's this live concert platform which is interactive and virtual. And this is now something that we have been actively selling and promoting, not only in Finland but also abroad. And we are aiming to make this a real a product and get an investor round for this, and really start making concerts. And it's to finish with, so it's also my great pleasure to invite all of you to the second Burst Live gig, which takes place on Friday this week at 8 p.m. German time. And the artist this time is Alma. She's a rising international Finnish star who's already been working with Miley Cyrus and Tuvalu and other superstars. And this is part of the Helsinki Day celebration, so it's totally free of charge. And I can tell you that it will be very different from the previous gig. So that's it. I hope you will join. Thank you very much. That was what I had to say. I hope it was interesting.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you very much for this impressive presentation from an entrepreneurial perspective. What I really liked, or what was very impressive to me, was that you rented this space without having a single concert scheduled and planned.
Yeah.
That is really impressive, to take the risk to just try it out, believe that there might be a chance, and then just do it. I think that is something, to me personally, that was very impressive, besides this virtual product that you created. Now, we all together, dear participants, liebe Teilnehmer, Jan Feller and Laura Olin, we have the chance to talk a little more. We have some minutes to discuss. Jan, vielleicht auch, genau, kommst du noch mal sozusagen dazu?
Hey Laura,
Moin, moin.
Genau, ein bisschen finnischen Rap haben wir jetzt auch gelernt. Did you have questions, Jan, that you read that you would like to answer? I don't know, Laura, if you were able to follow the chat a little bit. Otherwise, I would have some questions that I prepared?
I'm reading the chat here. Thank you for all your nice messages. But there were quite many actually, so I haven't gone them all through. So if you have questions, just please read them and let's see.
Maybe we continue a little bit from the technical side. I'm just reading the question about 2D screens, which devices you are focusing. Earlier on, there was someone apparently from a producing industry company that told that they are using augmented reality for service and also for training, like the Finnischer example you had. What are the advantages of VR and what are the limits? Maybe this.
Yeah, well, basically, technically, they are both built like they are based in like similar like virtual models and all that. So it's very much up to what's the purpose, what do you use it for? Like for instance, if you are doing training for cabin crew, it might be essential that they like feel the presence, that they are inside the space, the airplane, and they need to really find out the right locker where the first aid kit is located and all that. But basically, like if we would have, for instance, an electrician who would have to fix something in the cabin, it might be useful for them to use augmented reality, so that somebody, by using augmented reality, somebody from how the wires should be attached or something like that. So it's like the basis is the same, but it's just a different user interface, and that's really much up to the purpose why you are doing what you are doing.
But do you see that there's in fact then companies really need the consultancy also, like how to approach these technologies? To what extent do companies already know how to use it, or do you have to actually a lot explain still the possibilities and sort out every case yourself?
Yes, so that's correct that many companies need consulting and need, you know, a way to understand like what are the best things you can do with technology, because the idea is not the technology, but you either, I mean, if we are talking, let's say, about a factory, you either want to use it to save money or earn more money. So, for instance, doing these safety sessions or things like that in within XR, so that might really well make sense. And I must say that Finnair has been a good example here, that they have had these sort of digital transformation persons who are sort of the middlemen there between, like, for instance, us and the organization. So when they decide that now we are searching for different opportunities within XR, so this sort of middleman is figuring out like the needs from different parts of the organization and checking out what kind of piloting opportunities there are. And it helps really a lot that there are like these people who are really specialized in what you can do with XR, and then you really can make these pilots happen. If every like business unit takes it one by one, it can sometimes be too slow, and then the company sort of loses the big picture. Because the idea is that, for instance, if you have one airplane modeled, you can use that one model for many different purposes, from marketing to engineer training. And if the company sort of isn't aware that there is this model, for instance, then they lose some of the benefits.
Do you, Jan, want to add something, like where do you see the chances, maybe considering your services also for German companies, for the participants in our webinar, what to find in Finland, basically.
Yeah. I mean, many of, let's say, the Finland picture in Germany has traditionally been a combination of great nature, sauna, lakes, Santa Claus, and Leningrad cowboys. And more and more German companies realize now that Finland is actually one of the most innovative and digital countries of Europe. And there is a lot of interesting companies and partners such as Zoan that actually can help and have helped. We run, I think we right now bring every year about 30 Finnish digital companies to the German market, put them together with customers. And the German feedback is always, if we would only had known this before, and it's super to work with the Finns because they just, you know, they bring new ideas, they know how to make them work, and they are super pragmatic, so it just happens. Which is also a bit of a cultural trait. Finland is a trust-based society versus Germany, which is more of a control-based society. So we Finns, I can say we because I have both nationalities, but we Finns, we trust in that things will turn out well somehow. So we, you know, things like Zoan making the investment into renting that industrial space. I would assume, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't have an intense risk analysis process, investment, different scenarios, really kind of, you know, going through the numbers and then turning out with a probability of what scenario might turn out.
No, of course not. The sort of the culmination was when we had negotiations with two big partners, Helsinki and one like commercial partner. And the commercial partner the marketing director wanted this so bad, but he couldn't push this through in such a short time. And that was out of the game. And then Helsinki was asking like, okay, it's only us. Are you in or not? And I said to our CEO Miikka that tomorrow morning Helsinki has this Corona group meeting and they are going to put this on the table to decide if they are in or not. And we need to know now if they say yes, so we need to tell them that we are in. Otherwise this won't happen. And it's a risk for us. We can get maybe most of the cost covered by Helsinki, but do we do that? And then, of course, it's easier in a company where it's privately owned, you know, and all that. So Miikka just said that, yeah, let's do it. And I said, good. Then we told Helsinki that we are in, and then we start searching for new partners, which we also did later. But, you know, with Helsinki also, like, about control and trust-based society, we made the actual contract of this, like, the last part of it was signed on the day when the concert took place. So, I mean, because the lawyers are always so slow, so we just thought that we cannot really wait for that. We need to proceed. But we know those guys. We know they are in. We know that Helsinki doesn't leave us in trouble. We've been working with them so long, so that we just wanted to, you know, we just needed to get, I mean, if you are starting to wait for contracts to happen, these things don't happen. And in that way, I like understand that sort of the trust-based society definitely works like this. If this was the US, for instance, I don't know. I think that would cause us trouble. But at the same time, I'm also a bit worried, like, because we are coming from Finland, and if we are doing international gigs in a different environment where you have like these lawyers and you have these contracts defining that and that. And here we are so used to that you use your common sense, and if this is not agreed, so you just discuss and you settle it somehow. So that is our company ready for that kind of business culture that is really much defined by Excel sheets and lawyers and all of that? And how will our like creative-minded people who just want to make things happen, how can they work in that kind of culture, and what kind of people do we need to have to make this equation work so that we don't lose this energy and creativity, but at the same time we are like, we have our backs safe, that we know that we also have the right controls in place. So I think that's a big issue for us to think about in the future.
Now there were two more questions going a bit more into detail. One asking for if this could VR experience could help also people with dementia, for example, or the other question is how to create an atmosphere, emotional atmosphere in these kind of virtual concerts that matches real concerts. Do you have a quick answer to these?
Yes, definitely about the dementia. You can already if you search YouTube, you can see people like old people visiting their old, homes in virtual. It can be like a 360 video. So definitely that's one big thing. And I also believe that this sort of like nostalgia history things will be a big thing within VR, when you can sort of like visit your childhood, things like that. So definitely that's possible, and that's also probably something that is growing.
Okay.
And yeah, what was the other question?
The other question was once more about the concerts, how to do it, that the atmosphere is matching real events. What's the trick?
Well, of course, it's like that. For instance, in the beginning of the concert, so when the avatar started to arrive, so there was this like sound of people, like, when you are waiting for something, so there are a lot of people like talking at the same time, älämölö in Finnish. So you can hear that, and you can see that there are other people here as well. And then when you know that the band members can even see you, so it gives you a feel somewhere than just like, on the sofa watching for video. And then also the avatars could do things like wave hands or dance or something. And we counted like 10 million interactions during that show. It was really much more than we expected. We needed actually to shut the connection to that server at some point, because we were afraid that the avatar thing would sort of crash the whole concert. But yeah, so it seems to be really popular.
It was actually great when we were in the audience, because in the end, the live concert audience is about what you see, what you hear, what you smell, and on the what you hear, you had this, the people were waiting in front of the stage before the gig started, and they were chatting and things, and these interactions you could do were something. Of course, in real life you would have more interactions, but they were at least. Our kids were saying like, can you wave once more, and things like that. So that was actually quite fun.
Thank you. I can see that we could go on with our dialogue and discussion for quite a while. But time is out, which brings me to tell you all, liebe Teilnehmer, dass die Kontaktdaten haben Sie in der Präsentation. So of course, Laura, happily people can get in touch with you if they want. We're gonna send the presentation around, and so from my point of view, I would thank you very much for joining. Vielen herzlichen Dank, Kiitos, that you joined us this morning. I think you said virtual events are here to stay. I'm definitely I'm definitely the same opinion. So we will have more. We can closer work together and talk with each other now using these and other platforms here as well. Finally, auf Deutsch nochmal, liebe Teilnehmer, möchte ich Sie einfach darauf hinweisen, schon auf unser nächstes Webinar. Wir bleiben eigentlich beim Thema Geschäftsmodelle. Und zwar schauen wir uns eine Methode genauer an, wie Sie den Kundennutzen Ihres Unternehmens analysieren können und wie Sie ihn auf den Punkt bringen können. Der Termin steht bereits am 1. Juli um 10 Uhr, unser nächstes Webinar. Und Sie können sich da auch gerne bereits anmelden. Freue mich, wenn Sie wieder dabei sind. Und damit dann auch nochmal ein letztes Mal wünschen wir Ihnen einen schönen Tag und danken Ihnen herzlich, dass Sie dabei waren. Bis zum nächsten Webinar. Auf Wiedersehen und Wiederhören. Bye bye.
Danke, tschüss.
Bye bye.